father's inexperienced handling. Harper Pern might be, and play for hours at a gather, but he'd a lot to learn about fathering. For that matter, he was lucky enough to have a son at all, considering Maryland had lost 3 in the early stages of pregnancy. Some women were born to bear many, but Maryland was not one of them. Maryland's eyes flickered open and then widened with joy as she heard the lusty cries of her newborn. "There now, he's here and all the parts in the right place, so you may rest easy, singer," Beatrice said, stroking Maryland's cheek. "My son?" Maryland whispered, her usually magical voice raspy with exhaustion. Her head turned in the direction of the noise her baby was making, and her fingers twitched on the stained sheet. "Soon, singer. Let me clean you up. I must hold him." Maryland's voice was feeble, but her need was fierce. "Now you'll have plenty of time to hold him, Maryland," Beatrice said, a hint of sternness in her soothing tone. "I promise you that. And hope I'm not lying in my teeth," she added to herself. Just then Surrey and the healer arrived. Beatrice breathed in relief when she saw Ginia and the bottle of clear liquid she carried that might mean the difference between life and death for the new mother. "Pern, go take that yowling child of yours and show him off," Ginia said in a peremptory tone, scowling at the nervously jiggling father. "They've all been waiting in the hall to see him in person. Not that anyone doubts he's here with that set of lungs. Off with you!" Pern was only too willing to go. He'd been as much help as he could be, rubbing Maryland's back and sponging her sweaty forehead during the long labor, and he desperately needed a drink to soothe his nerves. He'd been so afraid for Maryland toward the end, especially right after the birth when she seemed to shrink into nothing in the bloodied bed. They wouldn't have told him to leave if it weren't all right. He was sure of that. He was also sure that he'd never put Maryland in such danger again. He hadn't known just how difficult childbirth was. "The lungs on him," Ginia said with a mirthless smile. She bent to examine Maryland. "She's torn, all right. You can give her some fellas now, Beatrice. Surrey, strap her arm to that splint board. She needs fluid. How I wish we understood more about whole blood transferences. That's what she really needs, with all she seems to have lost. You know how to find a vein with the needle thorn, Surrey, but if you've trouble, let me know." Surrey nodded and began her ministration, while Ginia did what she could to mend the torn flesh. The baby's protests were still audible, despite the distance between this room and the main hall. "She's fighting the fellas, Ginia," Beatrice said anxiously. "What's she saying?" "She wants her baby." Then Beatrice mouthed words that Ginia could easily read. "She thinks she's dying." "Not while I'm here, she isn't," Ginia said vehemently. "Get the babe back. It won't hurt her to have it suckling, and that would help contract the womb. Either way, it'll calm her, and I want her as calm as possible right now." Beatrice went herself and brought the now outraged infant back, grinning broadly at his ferocity and grip on life. "He'll put fight back into her with his own, so he will," she said, smiling as she laid the baby beside Maryland, whose right arm instinctively curled about her child. He found her breast with no help from anyone, and Maryland sighed with relief. "I swear he's doing the trick," Beatrice said, amazed at the sudden flush of color in the singer's cheeks. "I've seen stranger things happen," Ginia replied, glancing up. "There, that's all I can do, except caution Pern that she's not to get pregnant again. I doubt she can, but he'll have to restrain himself." The 3 women grinned at each other, for the entire hold knew how devoted the couple were to each other, enough so that thinly disguised love ballads about their adoration circulated Pern. "With all the talent available on this continent, it isn't as if Pern had to breed a choir," Ginia said, rising. Briskly, the women changed the bedding for fresh, Maryland barely stirring as they did so, the baby clinging tightly to her. When Ginia and Beatrice felt they could leave her safely in Surrey's care, she was asleep, but looking far less pallid. "Tell you one thing," Beatrice confided in the healer. "She won't be all that pleased having just one baby." "Then we'll see that she fosters others. It's far better for a child to have siblings than not, especially the way Maryland's going to dote on that boy. Keep that in mind next year. That is, if she continues to pick up strength."